In the white-hot intensity of the WNBA, where every possession, every foul call, and every second-quarter whistle is magnified under a high-powered microscope, a single moment of frustration can speak volumes. For Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever's incandescent star, that moment arrived during another emotionally charged outing, an incident that served as a powerful testament to the immense pressure she is under in her sophomore season. With the game's emotions running at a fever pitch and a questionable officiating call going against her team, Clark's frustration finally hit a breaking point, and she made it abundantly clear. As a referee walked away from the bench, cameras captured Clark glaring and mouthing words of disbelief toward a replay review that failed to go in the Fever's favor. It was a visual of raw, unfiltered emotion that resonated with fans and analysts, revealing a side of the young star that has become increasingly common in a season defined by challenges and setbacks. This latest outburst, however, was not an isolated event. It was simply the most recent flashpoint in a season-long struggle for Clark to maintain her composure in the face of what she and her team perceive as officiating inconsistencies. Just weeks earlier, in a separate, equally tense game against the rival Connecticut Sun, Clark's emotions boiled over to such a degree that she had to be physically held back by assistant coach Brianne January. According to reports from the time, the confrontation occurred with just over 4 minutes left in the third quarter, and Clark was moments away from picking up a technical foul or facing even more severe repercussions. These two moments, separated by time but connected by a similar thread of frustration, tell the story of a season that is proving to be a much harder emotional journey for Clark than anyone could have anticipated. The contrast between this season and her rookie campaign is stark and revealing. Clark's debut WNBA season was, by all accounts, nothing short of sensational. She was a record-breaking phenom, a player whose talent and magnetism sparked the Caitlin Clark effect, a surge in fan engagement and league visibility that had never been seen before. Her rookie season was about highlights, record books, and a feeling of pure, unadulterated excitement. But her second campaign has been a different story entirely. Her prodigious talent has been stifled by a persistent groin injury that has limited her time on the court, a frustrating development for a player whose game is built on quickness and agility. Adding to this physical challenge is a series of officiating inconsistencies that have repeatedly tested her patience and composure. This emotional season has seen a shift in her on-court persona, from the joyful, record-breaking star to a player whose passion is sometimes turning into visible anger and frustration. It is important to note that Clark's frustration is not a solitary feeling. It has been mirrored and validated by her head coach, Stephanie White, who has been an outspoken advocate for her team and her star player. White recently called public attention to what she described as unbelievable disrespect from officials, a comment that followed a controversial no-call in the final seconds of a crucial loss to the New York Liberty. The coach was not just speaking in generalities. She cited a significant free throw disparity over a number of games, a statistical discrepancy that she argued was a direct result of her players, and particularly Clark, not getting the same calls as their opponents. White also criticized the league's mechanisms for reviewing officiating mistakes, echoing a sentiment of helplessness that has been visibly felt on the Fever bench. The fact that her coach is publicly supporting her feelings of frustration adds a significant layer of legitimacy to Clark's actions. The most recent outburst was fueled by what many home rivalry game. The play, which was sent to replay review, was one of those moments that could have swung the momentum of the game in the Fever's favor. But when the call was confirmed, Clark's reaction was a flash of raw disbelief. The visual of her glaring at the official, her lips moving in silent protest, was a powerful moment that perfectly captured the feeling of injustice that she and her team have been experiencing all season. It was not a physical altercation, but it was a moment of deep, personal frustration that the television cameras and the fans in attendance could not miss. The emotional toll of her season cannot be understated. Clark's injuries, specifically a persistent, forced her to miss a significant number of games. For a player who has always played with an aggressive and attacking style, being unable to perform at her peak physical level is a major source of frustration. The fiery competitor that has always defined her game is still there, but it is now being channeled through a body that is not at 100%. This physical limitation, combined with the psychological weight of what she perceives as unfair treatment from officials, has created a pressure cooker environment. Her emotional outbursts are not just a sign of frustration with the referees. They are also a reflection of her own internal struggle with her physical limitations and the unfulfilled expectations of a season that she had hoped would be a follow-up to her spectacular debut. The free throw disparity that White has publicly called out adds a statistical basis to these emotional arguments. The coach has pointed to her team's aggressive style, noting that they attack the rim with the intention of drawing contact, yet they are not being rewarded with trips to the free throw line at the same rate as their opponents. This is a powerful criticism because it moves the debate from a simple argument about a bad call to a broader question of fairness and consistency in how the game is officiated. When a team's star player, who is also the face of the league, is not getting the benefit of the whistle, it creates a narrative that the game is being officiated in a way that is designed to either limit her impact or, at the very least, is inconsistent with the rules. As Clark's outbursts have become more frequent, the public conversation around her has become more divided. Some fans and analysts view her as a passionate and fiery competitor, a player who simply wants to win and is not afraid to stand up for herself and her team. This perspective sees her emotional displays as a sign of her leadership and a testament to her drive. Others, however, are beginning to worry that she is losing control of her emotions and that her outbursts could become a liability for the team. This perspective argues that as the face of the league, she has a responsibility to be a leader not just in her play, but in her conduct. The balance between being a fiery competitor and a player who is in control of her emotions is a fine one, and Clark is currently walking that line. Caitlin Clark is at a crossroads in her young career. The challenges of her second season have been immense, and they have pushed her to a place of visible frustration. She is a player who is struggling with injury, fighting against what she